Oh,
Oh, there you are. Hello, how are you?
uh, we're living the dream, aren't we?
Eric, are you worried?
It's worrying time, bitch.
It's worrying time. Let's
It's been
do
worrying
it.
time for a long time.
We've been worried. I'm now frightened. I'm everything.
Yeah. But I'm kind of sad because I thought new news was gonna drop today. Like, wouldn't that have been perfect?
I was certain. I was like, we're gonna get a Sunday headline because you know what they say about Sunday headlines. You drop a headline on Sunday, so it dies on Monday.
Yep.
So I was like, if Miss Olivia is gonna do a notes app apology, it's going to be Sunday morning, and then we'll get something brand new on Monday.
Yeah, true. Oh God, that's a whole nother thing I get into with Miss Olivia.
It actually makes me more worried that we didn't get anything today. I was convinced. Like I was like, yeah, they're 100% gonna like do a little recoiled like whatever statement, and then we're gonna get like Chris Pine nudes on Monday or something.
Yes, dude. I mean, we can only hope. We can only hope at this point, you know.
I think they're really gonna start leaking sex scenes from this movie, like left, right, and center, to get us to talk about anything.
Please.
Except the drama. Like I really do think that's like one of the only moves they have. It's like here's more of Harry Styles and Florence Pugh.
You know how like sometimes Marvel releases like the behind the scenes trailer for like their movies,
or they happen to leak that they've signed a contract with Harry Styles like half a year before Eternals comes out. Yeah.
Are we gonna get special features on the Don't Worry Darling DVD?
We better. I'm honestly begging at this point.
Like,
I don't know what they would show us though.
Them fighting in the trailers, and you know,
literally, like here's our trailer muted.
Yeah, that's what I want, but you know, time will tell, I guess.
The best meme that I've seen was the one that was like, did you know the car chase scene with Florence Pugh was actually like her trying to leave?
Oh, literally her trying to leave the set. Yep. I still have not watched that clip they released of Harry.
Oh, the newer one? Yeah.
I can't do it.
It's like, an experience. Honestly, I wish that I had seen no footage of this movie before it came out. I really stand by that. I wish that I had not seen a piece of it.
So that's me right now. So this year, I've been way more I've been better at like trying to avoid trailers this year in general. And that's probably why I like a lot more movies this time. Oh, is that Claire? Is that Miss Claire?
I think it's Miss Claire.
Oh my God.
Hey.
Yes. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, hi.
Oh my God. Hi. Nice to finally meet you. Holy shit.
Nice to meet you. Oh my God.
Claire and I have been going back and forth in the DMs with these voice messages, just like pure chaos.
This is like all day long. Oh my God, what's happening?
Yeah. It's fine. What were we talking about?
Just before we continue, Claire, are you worried?
Oh, more worried than I've ever been. Like it's so ironic, but I don't even know what to think because there's so many different components to it, but the whole movie is just one ball of anxiety. Like, and some of that is like tied to the actual movie itself, and then how that connects to what's actually happening, and then some of that is just like the absolute chaos happening publicly.
Absolutely. We were just talking about Eric's been doing a really good job avoiding trailers this year to try and go into movies like
props
with
to
a clean slate.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, because I feel like I've liked a lot more movies this year because of it. Like a lot of people, you know, thought Doctor Strange was mid or didn't really like Nope or whatever. And what I do now is after I go see the movies, I watch the trailers right after it, be like, oh, what did they show? 90% of the time it's way too much.
It's the entire movie. That's a lot. That's been a big problem, is that like I'm all for like detailed trailers, but I think it's cool when they leave like little details that you think make up the entire movie but actually have nothing to do with what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring up like the marketing for this movie doomed from the start. Because do you remember, it's almost been a year ago since this happened. Our first trailer, our first look at this movie was an Instagram post.
Yeah.
By Olivia.
And that just tells you what they were trying to do. Like,
yes,
they weren't trying to take themselves seriously.
Didn't work.
They did not work.
It just felt weird because then the first actual trailer didn't come out till earlier this year, like months and months
Yeah,
later.
there was was it April or May? They started releasing teasers. Well, they had that picture of Harry Styles and Florence Pugh lying in bed, and that like set off the internet.
Right.
And then they started having like these little teasers, and then it was like Florence Pugh singing in the background, and then they started releasing actual trailers, and then everyone's like, "What the is going on?" You know?
So weird. It's just weird because, like, to think with the cast of this movie, that's also a Warner Brothers property, you know, that they would be on their A game with the marketing this time around. But again, then again, Warner Brothers is broke. I want to throw that out.
Right?
Yeah.
I am just begging to see like the market research presentation that happened. Like, I want to know like what foundation they attempted to lay versus where they went, because they had Eternals right there. Eternals was like from the textbook how you tell the story of empowering a female director. They did 100%. Such a good job. Such a good job talking about Chloe Zhao. And I'm like, the template was right there for you. You could have done exactly what Marvel did, and we all would have been like, hooray, Olivia Wilde.
Oh, absolutely.
I was thinking that. I was like,
why didn't they just movie so badly?
Yeah.
Sad.
Did you guys like Booksmart?
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Love that movie.
I'm like, how did you go from that to this? Like, And I think this had a lot of potential. I mean, the cast itself is quite impressive considering it's Olivia's second movie ever as a director.
Yeah.
Like it had so much potential. And I think given that these, like, obviously like Jordan Peele has done this focus on thrillers, but that also tied to political and social and all types of issues that, you know, it's pointing a nod to, but also telling its own original story. And I think that Olivia had the potential to do that, but given some of the things that she said, it's now going to cause a problem for what I'm guessing is part of the movie. Like with certain issues around consent, that's been a big conversation. And then her talking about female pleasure in the article, and then Flo contradicting that and saying, well, that's not what this is supposed to be about. And then all of a sudden, everyone focusing on Harry Styles being the sex object. It's all going to contradict itself, is my guess.
So I want to I have all of like the articles that came up on my computer right here. Like the very first thing that they say in Olivia's feature is, it's tea time in London and Olivia Wilde's talking about the O word. No, not the Oscars, but her approach to sex scenes in her new movie. Men don't come in this film, she declares over cucumber sandwiches. Only women here. Take that and consider that the very first thing we heard about this film was it's a feminist psychological thriller. And I'm like, we're like apples and oranges here. This is apples and oranges.
It contradicts itself. And it's like, given how, like, if you, I mean, obviously I think we all heard Florence's comments being like, that's not what this is supposed to be about. And that's not what she did it for. I just feel like it's going to feel so uncomfortable when like everyone's trying to understand what was the point. And then also, like, I always come back to the script changes that came.
Tell us about it. Talk about it. Yes.
That's a whole other door to open. But that tied to when Harry Styles was cast, and then talking about, I mean, you can kind of get into the Shia LaBeouf thing, but that's a lot too. But I genuinely have no idea what her thought process was with all of that.
Right. Well, even in this article, like, she talks about in a very kind of fluid, low-key way. I found the screenplay. Screenplay was great. Brought my own writer on. We completely redid it. And that's
right.
And I'm like, okay. So what did she see in that original screenplay that she was like, I'm tossing it all out except this one nugget, and now I'm gonna go pitch it out like in my own way as a feminist thriller. And then it seems it's definitely not uncommon for that to happen, but it was just the fact that she would go so far as to say, like, there was a great screenplay and then I completely changed it. I was like, oh, that's tea.
I wonder how the original writers feel. But
honestly, I'm surprised we haven't heard really anything from them. Like, we haven't really heard anything from anyone else in this movie. It's just,
you know who we have?
Olivia, Harry, Flo.
So if we only got one more soundbite about this movie, I want it to come from Dakota Johnson.
Facts.
tea.
Why did she leave this film? I'm not buying any of what we've heard about her.
Okay, the fact that she left the film, the stuff between Shia and Florence, all of a sudden, like, weird changes with Harry, and then now, like, none of the cast talks about it. None of them.
True.
Like,
they're
they've
so
all
quiet.
had other films this year, and all these other interviews, and you're telling me they haven't said a word? Oh, hi.
Hello, Max. Oh my God, Max reacts to our conversation. Oh my God.
Okay,
What?
So let's just pause for a second, Mac. Are you worried?
Yes, but more for personal reasons. I don't know if you saw my message in the group chat, but this morning, like, I was like, hey, so 2 p.m. Eastern, right? 2 p.m. Eastern. Totally forgot that I'm Central Time now. So I was like, great.
You made it.
So here I am. But we're here.
We're here.
We're worried.
We're reacting.
We're worried.
Dead.
Okay, we were talking about Dakota Johnson. Claire, do you want to finish what you were saying?
Sorry, yes, go.
Oh, what was I saying? Oh, I just think that, like, in addition to all the drama and all the things that are coming out and who we're going to see, the fact that no one has said anything all year, given that they all had other big projects and interviews that easily could have tied into, like, you know, what are you looking forward to? How was this experience? You know, what was it like working with this person? Just like any little question. That's pretty normal. Like, with all of these big actors doing these major projects, like, you could have easily said something and absolutely nothing was said. And I think that tells a lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that, like, it's also really interesting in a ensemble cast with so many A-listers, right? You also have the Don't Look Up press tour to go back to, where they had so many people that could have been doing press, and they kind of, like, shrunk it down, and then they did some panel things with a bunch of people, and then they did some things with just, like, Meryl and Jonah and Jennifer and Leo, right? So way back when the first trailer came out, I'm like, oh, that's, like, a really interesting template to put Don't Worry Darling on, because they could go the exact same route and say, we've got all these, you know, heavy hitters, and we want to do an Oscars run, and let's put them all in the same room and put Harry Styles in there and add, like, that crowd of people. So applying that lens to the fact that we haven't heard from anyone, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. And it would have been, I mean, obviously no one knows the full extent of what happened behind the scenes. I've heard something, but if it had gone well and performed smoothly, it could have had the potential for such a great press tour. Because imagine Harry Styles, Florence Pugh, Chris Pine, Gemma Chan, and Nick Kroll in one room. I mean, that's like a golden soundbite in itself. Like, whatever they were to do, it's just entertaining. People would watch it.
Yeah. And not just that, like, there's so many other folks that are in this cast that would have been cool to, like, you know, you talk about A/B modeling in late night, where you put, like, Harry Styles with new up-and-comer, right? To get the new up-and-comer some more press times, people are going to tune in for Harry. Like, there are so many cool pairings that you could have had here to kind of elevate people. Like, Dakota Johnson still shows up in the Google results for who's in this cast. That is so funny. Like, where's Kiki Lane in all this? She just slayed the Met Gala. Bring her back. Give her, like, a huge red carpet moment. She's not even going to Venice. And she's the one that replaced Dakota Johnson.
And she seems to be someone that seems pivotal to the plot of the film.
Yeah.
Like, she seems to be instrumental in Alice's disinterpretation, you know what I mean? Like her coming out of it.
Yeah. I just can't help to think what all this drama and all this controversy has probably canceled at this point. Like, there's probably not going to be that many late night interviews, you know, with Jimmy Fallon or Kimmel. That's probably not going to happen anymore. There's not going to be any of those, like, searching my name on Google, the cast of Don't Worry Darling. Why do they this? Why do they that?
No.
That's probably done.
Nope.
No one's getting interviewed with puppies. Like,
no one's doing a lie detector test.
Like, there is nothing. All that YouTube shit that we love, no way. It's probably all canceled at this point. No. And even SNL. I was thinking about, I was like, I don't know when SNL is premiering.
Could you imagine if Florence Pugh did SNL?
Now it's probably not happening, sadly.
I really thought that this film was going to be like her debut, and then like they would have done like a Harry as a musical guest or something like that.
Yeah, they would have.
don't make me sick to my stomach. That's exactly what I want now.
Right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, don't forget what they took away from us. Don't you forget.
Never forget.
Well,
no Hot Ones interview. I see that in the comments here from Kayla. Yeah, that was something that I think it was Claire, you said in our chat, like Gemma Chan on Hot Ones would be such a good fit.
Yeah, it would be so, because she's a great, I've seen her interviews. She's a great person to interview. She's very interesting. She's well spoken, but putting her in that like so relaxed and yet very like out of your comfort zone environment would have been so entertaining.
Yes.
But I think before this week, I mean, I don't know if Liz and I had talked about this, but I had already said that I thought Olivia was going to do almost all of the press, because it seems like that's what they were headed towards. That she was just going to be the face of the press tour, or whatever press that they decided to do. And now it's like, you can't do that. It's not going to go over well. So how do they move forward? Do they just do nothing? I mean, Harry Styles is too busy to do it for them. I mean,
I'm screaming at this comment from Dan. Olivia Wilde carpool karaoke, but it's just video chats with ex-cast.
Let's go.
Oh my god.
That's so funny.
Yes, please. That'd be so great.
Hey Ruth.
Hey Ruth. I do think an interesting point, like with Harry here, is like he could be one of their only scapegoats, right? Like sending Harry to go do musical guest appearances on all the major late nights, send him back to SNL, get him to kind of like, sorry, what's the word I'm looking for? Like get him to go do his musical thing, and in doing so, also promote the movie, but not go for the movie. Just keep putting him in public places where, like, Don't Worry Darling will get like the peripheral benefit of it. Like that's one of their only safe moves they have left if he's already tied to a contract to do promotion, so they can say, listen, we're sending you everywhere, like go play Grape Juice and make the girls scream. Like, that's it.
Really is. And so I don't know how that'll work with him being on Love on Tour, but he would be the only person that anyone would really listen to outside of, because it can't be Olivia. And I think Gemma Chan, Chris Pine, Nick Kroll, they're all going to continue staying silent. I genuinely think that it's going to be absolute nothing, whether it's in solidarity with Flo or it's because of their own personal experiences on set. I would love to have been a fly on that wall, but I just don't think it's going to be much. So he's pretty much the only person that you could put up there that doesn't have to say too much, but can be the face of the film without getting into any of the drama and just staying out of it.
Do you know who it should be? Sorry, go ahead.
If Harry was barely in the movie. Whoopi's not in it as much as we think.
No. And it seems like my interpretation of what we've seen is like the movie is about what happens when the men are at work. Right? So Harry's gonna leave and come home and leave and come home and leave and come home. We're gonna see what happens in the day-to-day of like the women of this community. So I think Harry's going to be pivotal to the plot, but like this is going to be about the women in the cast. It's not going to be about Chris and Harry and Nick. No.
His presence will be more felt than like actually.
I agree.
Do you know who should be the face of this film?
Well,
Chris Pine.
Let's go.
We're all in agreement.
I want Chris Pine on stage, Love on Tour, singing Agony with Harry.
Yep.
Anyway,
we would have had
watching the Will Throw the After Party last night.
I did. Well, I did. I'm gonna have to take last night on the show. I did a whole rant about all my obscene PR ideas for this movie, in which I did proclaim very loudly, I want Chris Pine to sing Agony to promote this film. Please. I would buy a theater out if he did that. I'll say it right now. Chris Pine goes out in the public and sings Agony. I will rent a theater for Don't Worry Darling.
Are we seeing the bloopers?
No. I don't think
what bloopers would there be?
Bloopers implies that people are having fun on set.
Right.
That I'm not sure about.
No.
So that won't be on the Blu-ray, on the 4K, like not happening.
The bloopers would end up looking like an episode of like The Bachelorette or like Keeping Up with the Kardashians or something.
Yes.
Obsessed.
I've seen a lot of tweets that were like, I would much rather watch a behind the scenes documentary of Don't Worry Darling than watch Don't Worry Darling.
Yep.
In like 10 years, I could so see that. Like an FX.
Someone commented on my video that like the movie about how they made Don't Worry Darling's going to win an Oscar.
Yes.
Okay, that and the Madonna boot camp. Those are my two pop culture documentaries that I need.
Yeah, 100%.
Listen, team of 4 right here. I'll produce. Max,
let's go.
write the screenplay. Yeah.
Let's go. I hope someone talks about this at the Oscars. Somebody.
I hope they get someone good to host. I need someone who's gonna stir shit up a little bit.
Yep. I'm available. They can call me.
Okay, question about Oscars. So I was thinking about, I noticed that Variety has been like a central figure in all of this past week, between like Olivia's article and then like the retcon of like Shia LaBeouf. Like they debuted both of those stories. Variety also, I think they also published the like top picks for the Oscars, and Don't Worry Darling was on there multiple times across multiple different categories. So I'm curious like what Variety's relationship to Warner Bros. Or Don't Worry Darling is for like them to have like the exclusive, or like relationship.
Great point.
And I think part of why some of this is like, who set this up? Because some of it seems like they were trying to stir the pot a bit. Like and I think Liz had made this point that they're kind of trying to throw Olivia under the bus. That it's that Variety very much like all of a sudden they're like, she's this and she's that and female directors and she's Harry Styles' girlfriend, and then all of a sudden, look, she lied. And I thought it was interesting that it came from the same place.
Yeah. Variety is owned by, sorry, I'm pronouncing this name wrong, Penske Media Corporation, which owns many prints, including Rolling Stone. That also explains Harry.
Interesting.
Wow.
Founded by Jay Penske, who, let me see if I can figure out what the connection is here. Keep talking. Let me deep dive.
Deep dive into it.
What was I gonna say?
Wow. But so what I wanted to say about the whole like how like Variety and like even other magazines or everywhere is just talking about the drama now instead of like the actual movie itself.
Right.
I feel like part of me wants to say that all these teams were kind of like eyeing the social media talk about Don't Worry Darling last year, because all of last year, let's face it, everyone was really only talking about the whole Olivia and Harry dating stuff when it came to this movie. Oh, this is the movie where they met. This is the movie where blah, 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 blah. Like, they didn't care about the actual movie.
No.
So I feel like a lot of these media outlets are like, okay, let's focus on that when the movie starts coming out, because that's apparently the only thing all these audiences really gave a shit about when talking about this movie. Because honestly, that's what everyone really knows about it for right now. No one really knows what the plot is. A lot of people probably haven't really seen the trailers, to be honest. Like, this is the story, and this is the story that gets people talking. And whether or not Warner Brothers likes this, time will tell, you know?
Yeah. Haley says, what if Olivia is using Harry as a selling point for the film? She absolutely is. She 100% is.
And like, yeah, it's true, because we're here talking about it. So
we're here talking about it. If you read her interviews, like,
let's be clear. This is a common tactic used across this industry. So people want to be like, I'm not saying anyone here or in the comments is being like this, but I see a lot of commentary that's like about why are we pinning things on Olivia specifically? It's like, it's not. Like, she's doing this. Many people do this. In this specific context, you can examine the ethical implications of it. Like, in the context of the film that she's trying to promote, in the context of what we were told this film was supposed to be and the message it was supposed to drive home, in the context of like 2022 headed into 2023 and where we think feminist media should go. We can examine this while also recognizing, people are cast all the time because they're gonna like bring a lot of their own publicity to the film.
Yeah.
This idea of stunt casting or like leaning a lot of marketing into who's on the marquee has been a thing since like film like started, like Mae West and like that whole thing. It is ingrained in film history. As long as film has been promoted and marketed, actors have been like marketed, like for the most part, like Mary Pickford, I guess, was maybe like the first, but like yeah, like anyone who's watched Singing in the Rain knows, like I've been telling people that like this film was like my Don Lockwood, Lena Lamont, like that was my big picture. So
wow, good point.
Yeah. So I want to like spill some tea. Obviously, is why we're all here.
Please do.
I feel like each of us has talked about this from like a different angle, right? Like I've taken it from the PR side of it. Mac, you've had some really interesting commentary around like academic sides of like examining this that I can't even begin to like try and articulate. But I think like this could be a fun moment for all of us to give a nuanced opinion that doesn't necessarily fit in a TikTok. Like there's so much that I think about this movie that I'm like, if I try and like film this as a TikTok, it's not gonna do well. Like it's not gonna get my point across clearly. It's not gonna fit in a minute. So I open the door. If people want to spill a hot take, now is the time to do so.
I guess I'll go. Them marketing this movie for the fandom crowd, big mistake. Big fucking mistake. Like, we're crazy. We're insane. We overanalyze everything, just as you can see from the past 2 years on this app. They really should have marketed this to my mom.
Yeah.
My grandma.
Yeah.
Oh, a white woman in like a crazy neighborhood and she thinks things are going wild. They ate up Gone Girl. They ate up The Woman on the Train, but of course that movie wasn't great, but it did do well. Like, they ate that shit up. And this movie is not for them. My grandma doesn't know what this movie is. My mom doesn't know what this movie is. There's a whole audience that Warner Brothers is not hitting because they think we're obsessed with all these Marvel actors in this movie, which, yeah, we are. My ticket's bought. Like, I'll be there.
Yep.
But shit! Like, they're missing out on a whole demographic that no one's really bringing up at this point.
But that's such an interesting point. Like, fandom will show up. That's not who you need to market to. And Marvel does this all the time, and it makes the fanboys very angry. Like, the fanboys are going to go to the premiere. You do 100%. Not need to sell a movie to them. You need to sell it to their girlfriends, their friends that don't like Marvel, and their parents and their children. Like, that is who you need to convince to buy the extra tickets for. It's not the boys that have been watching since Iron Man 1. Like, they are going to show up.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, yeah, I love this comment. Like, this person's 55 and like they know what the movie is. You're also on TikTok, right? Yeah. And you're probably seeing it on your For You page. Like, there's so many people that aren't on like these fan habitats that are seeing the one trailer on, like, it's going to be on the VMAs tonight probably, and that's their first exposure to this movie.
100%. I cannot tell you how many people this week have brought up the movie to me because they had never heard about it before.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Because the only time after there was the Elle Australia article, like, they heard the names, they kind of knew what it was, but they had no idea. And so that kind of came up. But then this week, like, all of a sudden, it's in every single major news publication. I have never seen such a widespread take on this film, given all the drama going around. And all of a sudden, everyone kind of knows what it is. But in some ways, it's also tarnishing the ability for it to do well in other markets outside of the fandom. Because some people like the drama and some people just don't give a shit. They just don't care. Yeah. So I'm interested to see how that will play a role in the box office, how well it performs, because I've seen a lot of comments where people are like, I'm just going to wait till this goes to streaming. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Right. Hi, Simone. Do you want to come join us? We'll add you in if you want. Simone's one of my favorite TikTok pop culture commentators. If you're not following, like, the absolute queen. Just slayed the Gaga concert the other night. Anyway, I'll stop fangirling over Simone. If you want to come join us, let me know and I'll send you an invite. Yes, I agree with everything you're saying, Claire. I also think it's like, here's one of my hot takes, but we don't have to dwell on this for too long. It's very interesting to see like traditional media pick up what TikTokers are saying. Like, I know Claire and I specifically have had our videos like our scripts taken verbatim and then published as pieces in BuzzFeed. I have like a whole list of the people that have like taken our stuff and republished.
Really? Gosh.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. Elle took one of my videos. BuzzFeed took 2 paragraphs of my research and put it almost verbatim. And listen, it's not that like they can, but I'm like, it's clear you watched my exact video and you put the exact timeline as I said it, because I know the timeline I built and I moved some facts to make my video make sense. As a written piece, this does not flow, besties. Like
that was like that was like the TMZ video that I sent you that you were in. There were a few sentences where I was like, that is literally what I said, word for word.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh wow.
So strange.
Yeah. There's something we said for like TikTok reporting becoming like the front line of entertainment, right? And how we like, for me, this all started because Eric and I for months have been saying, oh, Olivia said this and Florence said nothing. So in my head, I was like, everyone knows that there's drama between them because Eric and I are talking about this constantly. We're always saying, oh, look, like Florence is being shady. So when I made my first video, I made it assuming everybody else saw this pattern of behavior. And then clearly there was lots of people that were like, what the F are you on about? Like, I did not catch any of this. But we saw it because we're in the trenches for Harry Styles and Florence Pugh. Oh my God, it's time to be real. Okay, we're going to have to be real later. So it's just
put us in your Be Real, guys. I was going to say, put us in your Be Real, guys. In the comments.
Yes. I still have not had it Be Real. I don't know. I'm going to get it. I'll probably get it right before I go to my Love on Tour show. Most likely.
Yeah.
Like everyone else.
That'll be point.
The day Eric joined Be Real, slay.
Oh, it's over. It's over for everybody. Wow.
It's interesting to see like how fandom culture and like amateur reporting, which is like what we're doing, right, has like come together in a very interesting way to show like, oh, we saw the patterns before traditional outlets did. Traditional outlets picked it up, and now there's like all these frontline stories that really did start because there's so many people on TikTok and Twitter being like, y'all don't see the flags we're seeing.
Yeah. Right. Well, and then a lot of people were like, well, you're just basing it off of what Demois said. Demois said it 6 months prior or something like that. Remember when that original story came out about how, there's conflict, that it was centrally around Harry Styles and all that. It's like, no, like follow the patterns. Like there have been problems with this movie from the start. Like casting, production, or the early stages of production and rehearsals and actual production, and then after the movie, and the lack of comments about it and everyone completely avoiding it, like and now all of a sudden all the people who were like, well, you're pulling things out of thin air are like, well, you can't support the film and you can't talk about this and it's all that it's like, no, like there's a lot to talk about, and now that it's made every major news publication, like it's a major conversation and it's all over every social media platform for sure.
I also think it has proven, but I don't think we're at a point where like the public agrees with this, but it clearly has proven that social media behavior is one of our newest, strongest indicators of culture, because we were all saying like, Florence hasn't done this, Florence hasn't done that. Like I did a video saying this is what Florence has done for every single project she's been in. She has not done that for Don't Worry Darling. Why? And my comments were like, oh, you can't take social media usage seriously. And I'm like, well,
for this generation,
we were right. Like,
it's a language. It's a new language now.
It's a text, as you would say.
Yes.
So, like, what does that say about how we examine, like, these projects moving forward, right? And how are people moving forward going to say, okay, like, in our contracts, everyone has to post at the same time. Everyone has to do this. Everyone has to do that. Like, we have to put up a united front and not leave any room for questioning, because that's kind of how we pulled this drama out. We're like, oh, we know a pattern of behavior isn't being followed. Okay, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I forgot to bring up, I guess, so before Claire, Mac, before you guys joined, I was like, dang, I was really hoping that there was like a piece of news that would drop today that would be perfect for our live. It would be awesome. But honestly, there was a little piece of news, a little bit. Doesn't have to do with Don't Worry Darling, but has to do with someone in the movie. Did you guys hear about this movie day, cinema day on September 3rd?
No.
And
Policeman?
So yes, there's gonna be a new my Policeman footage. Yeah, because it's on September 3rd. It's 3,000 movie theaters are participating in it, and they're showing a sizzle reel right before the movie. You see Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, My Policeman. They wanted to bring that up, and list of other movies. So I'm like, okay, wow, here we go. Are we starting with the okay, Don't Worry Darling, that was fun, right? Now let's get into Oscar bait, Harry life. I'm like, okay, here we go. Like now we're gonna start seeing more out. I feel like by the time Don't Worry Darling comes out, we're gonna hear way more about My Policeman than the actual
100%.
film for sure.
I think because I mean, yes, Harry Styles has done some other projects. It was more of like where he was a bonus in them. These are 2 projects where he's like part of the faces of the film, and it is so lucky for him that he has My Policeman, because I think if not, this would completely tarnish his credibility and as an actor and his future being taken seriously, because otherwise they would
opportunity.
Yeah. I'm gonna be at TIFF, so I'm gonna make a video soon kind of like sharing this, but I'm going to be at the My Policeman premiere. Even if it's just the carpet, I have the insider pass to try and get my ticket to be inside the premiere, but at the very least I'm gonna be on the carpet for My Policeman, and I am so excited to see Harry eat it up. He's not confirmed it's coming, but like at this point, he has got to go ride the TIFF wave because they are going to just love on him.
Yes.
It's gonna be love on TIFF. Like, forget love on tour. Love on TIFF.
Yeah, love on Harry. Yeah. Wow.
It's gonna be big for him. And like the early reviews are that it's phenomenal and that he's phenomenal in it. So I'm like,
that one makes far more sense as an Oscar contender. Like, will it win? There's a lot of movies that are going to be in the wheelhouse, but I think that it's entirely possible it could get 1 or 2 noms for sure.
I like this question in the comments. Can you guys give your honest opinion of his acting and what's been released so far? Eric, why don't you say what you started the live with about your take on all this?
I'm not watching anything. I haven't watched any footage. I am not watching that clip of Harry. I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm waiting for the full picture, baby. Like I can't. We're like now we're judging people off of a 10-second clip of acting. Now we're doing that. Never. Like that's never been the case. Come on.
100%.
Like I'm waiting for the full thing. Characters have arcs. We don't know what point in his arc this clip is. I'm waiting it out. But also I'm just trying to avoid any footage. I have not watched that second trailer. The second one where it starts with him opening a door. Not watched it.
Wow.
Whenever it comes up in the theater, immediately on my phone, scrolling, not watching it. I'm not doing it. I'm waiting.
I don't want
to say I've heard a lot of opinions about it, and it's freaking hilarious. Lots of good memes already.
I don't want to say Eric's a better person than me, but like, if the shit fits.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I so wish I couldn't go without watching a trailer, but I can't help myself. I cannot. I need to know every single thing. I want to know what every single person is saying. I want to read the screenplay. I want to know what the script changes were.
Okay, talk about the screenplay, Mac. You've read it. Have you
No,
not?
no, I haven't.
Oh, I thought you did.
I know it exists. I have it. I have not read it.
Oh.
My plan is to go see the film presented as it was meant to be presented via film. Like watch the story as it was meant to be told, and then go back in hindsight and like compare and see how the like script developed. I have the like original the script that was on the blacklist, and then the script with the added changes.
I would love before and after.
So we were talking about that before you joined the live, that like we want to know, what did Olivia see in that original script? What did she decide was so worth changing, and what is this final projection we're getting?
Then get ready for Back Reacts in September, October, because we're gonna I'll deep dive into all of that.
Let's do it. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are my thoughts on Harry's acting? I thought it was like, from what we've seen. Again, like Eric makes a great point. Like, it's all about context. And just like from the stuff we've seen, he seems connected. He seems like he's listening to his scene partner. So like all the like standards of like acting as an art, he seems to respect. I think it's doing him a disservice that we're only showing him screaming in all of his acting moments. It makes him people take it and make it seem like he's just a straight boy in an intro to acting class. You know how they always like scream through their monologues. Yeah. So I'm excited to see, like, to me, I think a stronger actor is like defined by their quieter moments. So I'm interested to see like those moments for him. Fortunately, like, we got to see Florence like have a lot of that in the trailer. So
yeah,
that's my answer.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to make any concrete judgments about his acting when we've barely seen anything. I mean, you look Dunkirk, like, what words were there? Like, he said maybe 3 or 4 words, if that. Marvel, I mean, it was 1 or 2 like cheeky lines to be charming and appealing to maybe lead to something else. And then now this, it's mostly been Florence talking, Florence singing. Like, they've shown her in the quieter moments, and I think that's a great comment to make, is what most people recognize as some of the best acting. It's not when someone's like going at it when they're most passionate. It's like, how can you take control of a room with utter silence and like your body language and how you command a scene? And I think if he has that opportunity, that's when you really find out, what does he make of it. So I'm very curious to see. I have only read a few short parts of the script, like things that I was particularly interested in. But other than that, I don't think it's fair to make any like real harsh judgments about it, because we just don't know.
As you were saying that, someone started watching the live and it just said Harry Styles joined the live. I was like, imagine.
Oh God.
Sorry, imagine Harry joins at the one moment. We're like, well,
right. Well, Harry, I thought you were amazing in that Pepsi commercial with the football player. I thought that was fantastic. Yes.
One thing I will say, there's been a lot of memes about like, oh my gosh, he's speaking like, I can't tell where he's from. Like, I can't tell what his accent is. I'm like, that's just his voice. Like,
isn't it? Like, I thought it's already been confirmed that he's not doing like an American accent.
Yeah.
Like, what?
So I don't know where all these
UK is he trying to be from? I'm like, himself?
Yeah.
It's like Manchester. Like, what are you trying to do?
Yeah. Like it. Well, and it's like him. I don't know. You try being global for like your entire life.
Your life between LA and
yeah. You know, you live your entire life not tied down to one particular location, constantly moving, and see what happens to your voice. You know.
Yep.
Well, I also think that like anyone, not just someone like Harry Styles who has not done like a ton of acting, anyone beside Florence Pugh is not going to eat.
Her accent word. Don't get me started.
Like, look at Little Women. That was an all-star cast. Like, every single person in Little Women owns their films, is the best at what they do. Like, that, no one will beat that ensemble, and she still ate. Like, she still swept everyone under the rug. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, sorry, not to.
No, go ahead, please.
That film came out 3 years ago, and she's still the person that is referenced by far when talking about that film. Like, for a while it was Timothée Chalamet. People still talk about her performance. I think it's
and she makes a character that is so culturally not liked, really, when you think of Little Women. Like that is not the character that people leave thinking about, and made her like a focal point in a way she has never been in the entirety of that.
100%. Yeah.
Someone in the comments is asking, but should he not try to have a more consistent accent? I'm like curious like what you're getting at there, because either we're asking him to change his voice, which I don't think is what you're trying to say, or we're having a voice coach step in and like give him a more like universal accent, like neutral neutral American like type deal, which at that point, like if you're adding on an accent for you to think about, so then you're thinking about accent, and then you're thinking about verbal verbal actions and like intention, and then presence, and then reacting to your scene partner, and then like being on a movie set. So it's like another factor, and if you're able to juggle that, then great. you know, people like Florence and Gemma Chan are able to do that. But if this is like your first lead role, I don't know if that's the best use of his energy, you know?
Mm-hmm. Nor is that like the point. Like, I really don't think the accents are a point of this film.
No.
In a period piece, in a cultural piece, like, yeah, that needs to be a consistent part of what you're watching. Like, imagine if like Downton Abbey had someone with like a rural Canadian accent. Like, it'd throw the whole thing off. It'd be like, where, like, that person wouldn't
like location. And that, like, this does not seem to be a film where location is a factor, like a real factor in the characters or what's going on and understanding things. Something like Downton Abbey, like, that's important. It's integral to how they are as people. Whereas this, I'm like, it's not necessarily a factor. And when everyone's talking about like, oh, well, the little things that they've said or done or how he behaves or how he performs, it's like, I think part of the story that kind of changed a bit was that they are this young, kind of naive couple. If I remember correctly, they're supposed to be older in the original script, but I think that kind of plays a role, that they're combative. They're kind of they're trying to figure things out, and it's not an origin. Like, there's no, so far as I've heard from, there's nothing about where they come from or how they got together. It's all just what's happening in this little bubble, and that's part of. Yeah.
One piece of this movie that I'm really interested to see more about is how the age of the characters between like Florence and Harry and then like Chris Pine like play, like how that power dynamic rolls out, because I really think that part of the reason why they like lowered the age of this like primary lead couple is so that someone like Chris Pine could come in and be more stoic and be more of that figurehead and have more like weight in the room, because it doesn't like stand in the same way if he's beside Leo or like, you know.
Right. Well, I don't know if you saw in the first Olivia Wilde Variety article, but I think she was originally set to play Alice and then brought on Florence with an emphasis on skewing the main couple younger. So
right.
I think you're onto something there.
I think it's gonna have a big like masculinity and like looking at someone as a figurehead in this society for Harry is like this young guy trying to come up. So that's kind of interesting. And I'm interested to see, like, we only heard a little bit of Chris Pine talking in the trailer, but I really do feel like his weight is going to be like what everyone else's tone and voice is going to like round around, because he's the one that they're all working for and modeling for. Right? So does that affect how Harry talks in the film? And does his voice become more and more like deep and whatever matching Chris's as we move through?
Yeah. There seems to be a mentor relationship between Chris and Harry's characters.
Yeah.
This movie better be fucking good. I swear to God. This better. Dude, when that Rotten Tomatoes comes out and it's like below 50, we're fucked. Like, we're in for a roller coaster when it's below 50%. Like, ugh. Like,
I really do think it is going to be good. But I think
like, I have hope. Like, Booksmart was awesome. I rewatch Booksmart once a year. Like, it's great. But then again, haven't seen Olivia make a movie like this, so we shall see.
Yeah. Well, there's a few things that we know to be undeniably true. Olivia Wilde is a good director. How she treats people, how she approaches her PR, that's like it's a whole other thing, but like, she's directed good films. Florence Pugh eats in this genre. This is her playground where she shines, right? And this ensemble is stacked with powerhouse, right? Stacked. I think that formula is going to produce something that is good. But whether or not like the plot and like the like, Mac, you've talked about this in your videos, and I'm worried about using language that's gonna like get the live banned, but like the intimacy of the film, like if those things are not perfected, like that's what's gonna take this movie down. But it's not gonna be Florence. It's not gonna be cinematography. It's not gonna be the cast. It's gonna be like shitty rewrites and like poor intimacy.
Right. It's powerhouses on and off camera too. Like, I don't know if you looked at this roster is like my fantasy football of a film.
You know? Yeah, facts.
Like John Powell's doing the score. Matthew Libatique is doing cinematography. I think the AD also worked on Little Women, and like the costume design did Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes.
So there are people that are incredibly not only capable but like brilliant and like masterful in recent work. So I think it's really supported. It seems to be standing on very strong legs. So it's just a matter of and I think
the execution come together. Like, you can have the best ingredients in the world and still make a shit dinner.
Yeah.
Right. So I think at this point, like, it's almost a victim of its context, of its, like, you know, social context, which is a bit of a bummer. But
is Warner Brothers gonna have to put a "for rent" sign on their water tower if this bombs in the box office?
No.
Because you're telling me Warner Brothers is relying on this shit show and Black Adam, which kind of looks mid already,
and Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
Help. Send help.
What a tripod.
Take them to therapy because they're gonna need it.
Therapy on tour. Listen, they all need to go on tour and like see God. They all need to go hear Cinema Live.
Someone check on Warner Brothers. Give them a glass of water and a turkey.
Please. Oh man.
Yeah.
But so are we gonna totally rule out a Hollywood premiere? That's done. There's no way, right?
Oh yeah.
No way. No way. TikTokers aren't getting invited. It's not happening.
I have a hot take. I think there's going to be a Hollywood premiere. I really do. I really do.
Oh, can you imagine?
I really do.
But it's just Chris Pine and Nick Kroll. And
you know what?
And John Powell.
That up. I will drive to LA and I will stand outside if it's just them. I'd be fine with that.
Right.
What? If you did a red carpet of the crew, I would so be there for that.
Yeah.
If you brought Matthew Libatique, John Powell, the costume designer, like, and then like all of the interns and all the like production managers, I don't know.
PAs, that'd be great.
Because like they are really who makes the film when there is so much drama happening on the top level, you know.
Can I ask what you guys think of the posters?
I saw one. So sorry, were you talking?
No.
Okay. I saw one the other day that I guess popped up where it's like Florence Pugh and there's like these. I had to find a picture of it, but it's like it's kind of a yellow background and it looks very dark.
It looks very like 60s James Bond kind of thing, I think.
Yes, James Bond. That's exactly what it reminded me of. That one I like so much more. The one of them in bed, what is that for?
Lazy.
I love the picture. It does nothing for the movie.
No. When that poster came out, I was like, wow, good job. Like a still from the trailer. And come on, anyone could have done that. I was really hoping for more of that 60s inspired poster.
Yes.
Like, because someone did a fan art of that years ago, and it looked awesome. And I really wish they were just diving more into like the time period making the poster. Like that would have been great, but I don't know. I feel like they've been.
The biggest question with the posters is this is time set feminist thriller. So why didn't we get a series of like, in my mind, I would call them minimalist, but I don't really think that's the right word. But like posters that's like a domestic woman in a 60s kitchen and like one thing is off. Right?
Yes.
Like
there's like horror
like
postcards of that.
Or like it looks like someone's behind her or that someone's watching her. Or like just anything, like if she's wearing an apron and there's like a little bit of blood on it, or like something.
Oh my god!
What is
or like
that?
You know those commercials that were aimed at housewives in the 60s and the 50s that are like, you need this fridge, blah blah blah. Like, why didn't they do time set infomercials? And like something goes very wrong, kind of like WandaVision. Like, you know, in WandaVision they have
like
so unsettling.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, like, that would make us all excited and like, oh my god, like what's gonna happen? And like maybe it's like you know, you have someone like a Gemma Chan, like a Kiki Lane that are like doing it, and it's like it like, you know how they've been doing the flashes where it's like it flashes, there's like the zombie kind of looking things.
Yeah.
So it's like Gemma Chan, like, you know, with a teapot explaining why every housewife needs a teapot, and then it flashes to her like blood and the kettles like breaking and exploding and like whistling and like that would have been that would have made me feel like feminist thriller. This is a commentary on housewives and domestic nature and like all of this. But no, instead we're getting Harry Styles in bed.
We're so smart. We're all so smart. I love this. Like,
what? Right? You can hire us for like a quarter of the cost.
Listen,
I'll do
all I want in my dressing room is some McDonald's French fries, and I will work.
I mean, Eric's been doing this work for months. He's been putting out great.
Yes, my little shitty posters.
I can't believe none of those were used.
Honestly,
because you really deserve to be platformed for the labor you did. Tell the people about this.
Yeah.
I'm literally sweating still from all of it. Like, I'm exhausted. And also, I really wonder how all those girlies who bought that water bottle back during the set photos, I wonder how they're doing. Are they doing okay with all this, looking at that water bottle that literally Amazon sold out of because of those set photos? Amazing. Yeah, I think they sold out that and the apron. I don't remember, something like that.
That probably went straight into Olivia's budget. They're like, listen, you sell these water bottles, go buy a new wig for Flo. Like, have fun.
Right. Are we getting a scene with just Olivia Wilde and Harry?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yes. That's gonna be fun.
That's something to think about, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think there's gonna be something because it seems like that character in particular kind of always interjects themselves and everything. Like I noticed that she kept popping up. So I wonder what role she plays in all of this. So I have a feeling at some point there's some sort of overlap, but I could be wrong.
Right. Can you imagine if she's the mastermind of whatever's going on?
Yeah.
She's the director, you know?
I want to know what Nick Kroll's doing in this film.
What is he doing?
What is he doing?
Just the next door neighbor saying hi? Like,
really? Yeah. Like, it's like there's this dinner scene that they all have, right? And like we know Chris Pine is like big boss, right? And we know like there's lots of moments between the women and like they have all these things they do and ways that they talk. But I'm like, we have these men that I know nothing about, and I really want to understand like
what is it?
Yeah.
This comment asks if we think people are still gonna show to see this movie. Look, I think it's not going to do great the first weekend. A little part of me thinks first weekend's not going to do great. But this will be memed so fast. So many people are going to record random ass scenes in the movie. And it's going to probably bring more audiences to be like, what the fuck is going on, you know? Like,
you said
this is meme material already.
You said this is going to be Morbius 2.0. It's
literally it's worrying time. It's Morbius time, it's worrying time. Like,
that's heartbreaking, but I think you're right.
Like, no matter what, this movie will be talked about for because there's no big release until Black Adam in October, really. So it has some time.
I think Black Adam's gonna do poorly.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm really I wanted it to be good. Like, I love The Rock. It's an interesting story, but the trailer was so disappointing. I have a feeling it's not Morbius level. Like, people will still see it. Some people will enjoy it for like, you know, the standard same formula over and over again. But I think it's gonna do it very well. I think Don't Worry Darling is gonna have a similar, not the same, but like in the way that Top Gun went viral on social media because of one scene. That's what's gonna happen with Don't Worry Darling. Everyone, we're all gonna go watch this scene. Even though it takes away from like there's a whole point to this movie, I think.
Like Elvis too.
Yes, 100%.
Yes, you're right. Because I do remember people back in May when I think Top Gun came out, they would literally just do a TikTok of their reaction watching Miles Teller show his abs. There'd be like hundreds of videos of that. So I bet there's gonna be something where like something really hot is gonna happen and Don't Worry Darling. And it's gonna be people's reactions going like, oh my god, this movie, you know.
Oh my god, I took my grandma. Here's her reaction to Harry Styles in bed. Like, that's what's gonna happen.
100K likes, 10,000 shares, you know. 5,000 comments, you know, that kind of.
I can't wait for the audio that's like one line from Harry Styles into like, you know, those CapCut people that do like the animations that are like a flip cut, a flip cut, a flip cut, and then like Doja Cat. Like, we're gonna get one of those audios immediately, and it's gonna be my entire For You page for a month. It's gonna be
it will.
I'm gonna get so many edits. The edits are gonna be endless.
Yeah. Edit TikTok, I salute you. Like, you go to work for us, besties.
They're working overtime
fast. Yeah.
Like,
and I do want to ask you, like, you made this really interesting video, and in case people haven't seen it, I'm wondering if you might indulge us in a recap of like how intimacy is not intimacy in film, and that it is always used to explore like these other plot progressions and like character insights.
Yeah. Let's see how many.
I'm butchering your amazing language around this, but I'm thinking about it in the context of like the fan edits and the sound bites we are going to get and how it undermines the film.
I am worried about that because when the trailers were coming out, when the CinemaCon sound bites were starting to get tweeted out, and people were mentioning what was in the trailer, like I could already see like fans like starting to salivate, and so I'm like, oh boy. And then you watch the trailer and it's like, because like that teaser trailer that came out last year, all we saw was like Florence and Harry making out. Didn't really know the context of it, right? And so then CinemaCon happens. We get this trailer, and the context of the intimacy isn't as hot. It's actually kind of scary, or uncomfortable in a way. And I remember watching the trailer the first time and being like, oh, okay, instead of, oh, okay, you know?
Good point.
So then I think from that, because you're watching the shot of Chris Pine watching it happen, and then like if you go back and watch the trailer, there are moments where you can almost see like Alice starting to like pull back or like protest. I don't know, but I might be reading into it, so I'd be interested to see what it looks like in context. I don't know where I was going with. Oh, anyway, so like there are the fan community takes these scenes out of context, sets them to, you know, Man Eater or you know, any Weekend song ever, and all of a sudden it's hot. And you're like, it's hot, but at what cost? You know, what did we lose? What information do we lose by
Bucky and Winter Soldier? Yeah.
And I think that like the original casting choices is not. I'm not a Shia LaBeouf fan. I do not endorse him, but I do think casting someone like him, who is not like the sex symbol that Harry Styles is, in the scenes that we've seen, would have been a completely different experience.
Right.
That's another thing that I'm just baffled by. That the way Olivia describes Jack, how was that ever supposed to be Shia LaBeouf?
Honestly.
It does not. She's like, oh, he's sexy and charismatic and very persuasive. Like, I don't like Shia LaBeouf. I don't defend him. No interest in all that. But like, how are you expecting that to be that? I don't see that. That's why I'm like, the changes with Harry Styles starting the movie and the changes she made from the original 2019 script, I'm like, I just feel like it's so taking away from what the story could have been. And I guess we'll know for sure in September. But yeah, it's just, I have no idea what was the plan there.
That's a good point, because Shia hasn't been that since 2007. Like the past couple years, what he did: Fury, a war movie,
Honey Boy,
the
Peanut Butter Falcon, a drama, Honey Boy, dude.
The YouTube Shia LaBeouf song from way back in the day,
right?
That knows, you know, you're walking in the woods. Yeah, like that's the biggest moment he has had in pop culture since like even in my opinion. He's never come back. He's never come back.
No. But what a twist, though. If you were to tell me Shia LaBeouf was going to come back with receipts.
No, and the fact that his team declined a comment and he said, "Hold my beer," and did it himself.
Right.
Wow.
Here's my conspiracy.
Yeah.
Here's my conspiracy, right? So he obviously is getting set for this trial. He's got this team that's like watching what's just gone down with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and they know this is going to be a battle of the social media commentary, right? Yeah. They've just seen it all play out. They have a whole case study to now base their approach on. And in the midst of being like, let's stay quiet, and buy our time and like start building our case out for that moment, they get a phone call. Hey, it's Variety. Olivia said this. Do you want to comment? Oh my God. What a moment for them to be like, actually, this is our first chance to put Shia's voice out there the way that we want to. So no, thank you. Publish the article. We have Google Files, Dropboxes filled with stuff we're going to send you. We're going to spend weeks with the best writers in the business crafting our response, our emails, whatever. Publish it immediately. Like, I hate it. I hate that he has had this moment. I think it's disgusting. But from like the PR lens, masterful move. Yeah. Masterful move to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of my like the conspiracy part of my brain is like, what else is coming? Because typically when one domino falls, so does another, right? Yeah. That I think that more is going to come out about her. And one thing in particular that I've been very surprised to see, I genuinely thought Olivia would respond. I thought she'd say anything. And she has said nothing. And it's so strange to me. Like, it could have been, like, I think Elizabeth mentioned, like, a notes app thing on Instagram. It could have been a comment. It could have been her own article, her own moment to say something authentic, to say something like, just something that felt genuine, aside from you're just trying to tear down women directors and they're just trying to steal our moment and all that, because I feel like that might be what it would have turned into. But I just think that not saying anything is going to continue to tarnish her image. I don't think this is something that's going to blow away with the next news story. It's going to follow her, and that today, like, having the toxic performative feminist, and I've brought this up before, it really is not a good image, because she's been very active. She's very outspoken. There's a lot of videos of her supposed to be defending women. She was very just adamant about that. And now that's going to be used against her, because say someone else has one other video of her tearing down a woman, that's sealing the door shut. Because what production studio is going to want to touch someone who who women don't find favorably? I don't know. So as for what that means for her future project, that also is kind of a question mark.
And like, let's be clear. Like, the repercussion of everything that you've said is so much bigger than her, because when a white director doesn't succeed and when a white woman director doesn't succeed and gets bashed on and gets no's, like, those no's trickle down.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So it's like, you want to make this moment about being a female director and opening doors for women directing and women in production. That's what she's saying. Right? And then your door is getting shut. And you're out here saying, I know that me being in this position is big. And you're just letting it shut. To protect yourself. It's like, that's not feminism. That's not allyship. That's going to harm all of these other people that are trying to be in the position that you're in, that don't have the privileges that you've had.
No, and someone said in the comment section, and a lot of us have said that the misflow comment is really, it comes off so poorly,
doesn't it?
Florence Pugh, she has a quality about her where you don't have to be in love with her, but you don't dislike her. She does come off as genuine and likable, whether she's singing to her pet cactus or dancing around in the kitchen cooking. People love her. She's great to interview. She's great to talk to. I've yet to see a single negative fan experience. She's incredibly talented. She commands a scene. Like, so I think because it's her, like, it just comes off so badly. So I don't know how they're going to move forward with all this negative PR. Maybe they're just like, hey, we don't need to do anything. Any PR is PR, and we're just going to roll with it and see how the movie does.
Yeah. Wow. The writers for Boys season 4 are just like, oh my god, this is so good.
Okay,
the writers for Smash are like, we can do a revival.
Yes, the Smash revival is good.
I've been thinking about The Boys a lot through this process. Something that they did really well in the last season, spoilers for the latest season of The Boys, which you should watch because it's a phenomenal show. They did that subplot with MM's daughter's new like stepdad,
new stepdad, whatever. Mm-hmm.
And the idea of like a character that like slowly gets like twisted to this other narrative, which is what it feels like Jack is supposed to be in Don't Worry, Darling. This character that you slowly see has been twisted to this like ulterior motive or narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And if we had a smidge of like the word coming to mind is decency, but that's not what I mean. Like the quiet moments, the downbeats that Mac was talking about, like in this moment with Jack in the trailers. And if we were going into this movie with Jack appearing neutral, like would that not be a better movie going experience than like Hairstyles?
Wouldn't it?
Right? I'm worried, darling.
Okay, so no Funko Pops, no computer games, no VR experience, nothing.
Yeah.
Sad.
Truly.
We're missing out on merch.
But even like, I feel like every film when it's released to digital or like Blu-ray, like comes with a like a behind the scenes featurette. I don't even know if we even get that. Like, what was the last project that had this kind of drama that, and did they end up still having a behind the scenes reel? Like, I can't remember.
Good question.
I think of like the most controversial or drama filled films of the last.
I guess like Euphoria, maybe.
Maybe. And the only like, behind the scenes thing that they did that stuff after the episodes, but I don't think that Barbie Fiera did anything. I don't know if she was in this behind. I know that I think Sydney Sweeney did one. I think Hunter Schafer, Zendaya. I don't think Barbie did, and now Barbie's out.
Yeah, I don't know. Like what's the protocol for that?
I don't know.
I think that like a few balls are gonna drop here. Like there's a few like really hot points that are like still sitting. One is Venice and whatever the F is gonna happen on that red carpet. And like, let's be clear that every single detail going into Venice is going to be pre-planned. Like the color stories, the timing of when they walk, the way that they're posing for the cameras, the way that they're standing, the sound bites, like every single thing about the appearance at Venice is going to have strategy behind it. None of it's going to be off the cuff. So that's something that like we obviously have to sit down and wait for. But the other thing that I think is interesting is like if Florence gives the performance of a lifetime in this, and she's truly a standout, that gives this movie entirely new legs to stand on. Regardless of if she wants to talk about it, regardless of if she wants to be associated with it, they can run as far as they want to run if she smashes this. They can do the behind the scenes and show her process. They can bring in the crew and talk about like hair and makeup and costuming and cinematography and base it around her performance. Like they can go to like the round tables and talk about the process and feminism and have a whole new like wind in their sails about it.
Like kind of how like West Side Story basically rallied around Ariana DeBose when she started.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if we all watch this movie and we think it's mid, this movie's gonna die an immediate death and go straight to streaming, and we're not gonna hear shit about it again.
Don't worry, mid.
God, like I know. And what I did want to say was like going back to the Harry acting thing. Look, if he sucks, if he's really bad in this, I can't defend him, you know? It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt me a little bit, but I will call out bad acting if I see it. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Here's a question. This is like getting us into hot water, but like we're already in it. If Harry's bad in this film, the fans are going to defend him, right? Like, we know this.
They're dying days.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely.
So, how like if it happens that the movie is bad and Harry Styles is bad and like critics and people that are not entrenched in the Harry community are like, this is a bad movie, like stamp, signed, sealed, delivered. And the Harry fans start trying to spin another narrative like amongst themselves because they want to support Harry. Like how does that like ethical dilemma sit with each of us? Because to me, it's like what could be such a great moment to admit that like the people we idolize are not always perfect, like is completely lost, and we miss yet another moment of potential realization.
Growth.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna see it as, which if you're part of the Star Wars fandom, you'll be familiar with this. I'm just gonna see this as a Hayden Christensen situation. Yes. It's how he was directed. George Lucas is not a great director, and like he told him to stand here, turn his head a little bit. Like it's me that where we're in 10, 15 years, people are gonna be like, everyone misunderstood Harry in this movie, and now misunderstood where he was coming from with his performance. And it's just gonna be same story over and over again. It's poetry. It rhymes, as they say.
Yeah. I think it'll be for if it turns out that his acting did not come off well, then or not be received well, then it's going to be for a very niche audience that you didn't understand it like I did, and really look at it for what it was. And but yeah, I don't know. I think he'll do okay, to say the least. I don't think it's going to be terrible, because I don't see him being like a god awful actor. Because there are some that just you can't sit through. But I think he'll do okay. The question is, will he even be able to have any legs to stand on next to Florence? That's hard to do.
But it is a good actor like Florence's job to take care of her scene partner. So like if he looks good, so if he looks bad, it's kind of because of her. And then if he looks good, it's also because of her.
And vice versa. And vice versa.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that's a really good point, right? It's a really good point. Like you can't pin everything onto one player where it is such an ensemble piece. A lot of people commenting about My Policeman. I want to say really quickly, we talked about My Policeman a bit earlier in the live. I'm going to post this whole live onto Instagram and tag all 4 of us in it so you can rewatch the entire later. And I'm headed to the My Policeman premiere at TIFF, so I'll be bringing you updates as I get them from the premiere on September 11th. And the My Policeman Ensemble is also doing a gala that night, so I will be around. I don't think I can get into the gala because I'm pretty sure it's like a ticketed seated thing, but all of My Policeman updates that are coming from the critics first, I'll be posting here when that happens.
When's the Venice premiere?
Venice is before My Policeman, but not by much. Venice is the 4th. Hold on, this is why we do lives by our computers.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Here, let's see.
Wow.
I will probably be live during the Venice premiere.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Someone in the comments said September 6th or 5th or 7th.
Perfect. Yeah.
And shit, that's soon. God damn.
I know.
We're going to hear thoughts and opinions on this movie in a week or 2.
Yeah.
That's scary.
I'm really interested to see what like those first big critical pieces about this film coming out are going to say.
Right? And isn't no, go
ahead.
I was gonna say, isn't the Venice one the one about the whole standing ovation? Aren't they the big standing ovation one?
Like 10 standing ovations, yeah.
Can you imagine it comes out no standing ovations?
And usually you get like the footage of like the camera goes right up to like the cast and crew and gets those like shots. Like you got the one of Austin Butler crying, and you have one of Timothée Chalamet,
Adam Driver,
Yes. So it's like, are we gonna get one of those for the Police or for the Directorial?
Where they're just like,
yes.
Florence just sits down. She's like, no, I'm not gonna stand. I think so.
She won't be there. She's just at the bar.
Yeah. Honestly, wow.
Body study.
Yep.
What press goes into Venice? Like, what stuff comes out of Venice? Is it a press junket? Is it like red carpet interviews or?
So Venice is really interesting. In like the international film like events that happen throughout the year, like Tribeca is an interesting one because it's a little bit more low key. TIFF is a really interesting one because you get a lot more junkets out of it. But you have this lineup of critics that are the same critics that will go to every single industry event for Golden Globes, Emmys, and Oscars, and SAG and Hollywood Critics Association. Like it's this, like everyone knows each other. They're all on the same planes. They're all on the same buses. Like it's one crew of people, and they're all going to be at Venice together, right? And that's the main purpose of this event is this is when all of the people that you need to write the best shit about your movie are going to be in the room with you experiencing this in real time together. And if Hive Mind decides they don't like it, Hive Mind is going to publish that they don't like it. And not to say there's not individuality and all this, because there's a lot of really interesting people and specific people that go and have very interesting lenses that they study these films through. But it's not going to be like TIFF where we're going to get tons of social content and we're going to get tons of insider content, and we're going to get like these like fun sound bites and trinkets and post-film panels with the crew. And it's a lot more formal and closed off, and it's a lot more weighted. I guess.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is big for Hollywood Foreign Press kind of stuff. Golden Globes. If I remember right, usually a lot of films that do great at Venice usually show up at the Golden Globes and, get nominated for all that. So probably for that kind of crowd.
Venice is our first real shot at what award season is going to be. Like, people argue about this. My take is that Venice is the one, of course. TIFF is really interesting because of this ensemble award that they started doing, or the tribute award, which has been spot on the past few years. Benedict Cumberbatch got it for Power of the Dog. Jessica Chastain got it for Eyes of Tammy Faye. Like, every person that's received this award has been a front runner for Oscars.
Yes.
And it's going to My Policeman. So I'm like, that we cannot overlook the fact that the entire ensemble is being awarded this, because TIFF does not hand it out lightly regardless of who's sponsoring it.
Seriously.
And it's going to push them to the front of the conversation.
Absolutely. So, it's going to set the tone for everything else.
Absolutely. And it's interesting that like they would make the decision to give it to the ensemble. Like, does that mean that the movie's going to go for Best Picture and not just like a solo performance? Was there no standout in My Policeman, and it really was about the packaged film?
Liz, can you check when My Policeman's in theaters?
Sure.
Because I believe it's coming to theaters before Amazon, if I remember right.
October 21st. I thought.
Are you in California when that happens?
Maybe. Wait, is that a Friday?
I don't know. Well, 21st, Friday. Movie releases. Fuck.
Hold on. Pulling up the Google Cal.
Are we hosting a screening?
Wait a damn minute.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm in Toronto the 16th to the 20th, so I can be in LA the 21st. I'm going to be in LA I'm going to be in LA the 21st, because then we have Love on Tour at the Forum. See y'all there.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh my
My God. Okay.
Okay, Mac, your turn. Your turn to fly over here.
Is everyone going to?
I can't. Well, I'm going on Halloween, and
me too.
Beautiful. See you there. And 14th, and the 14th, which is his last show, or it's the 15th, whatever his last Forum show is on November.
Oh, me too. November.
Oh, let's go. Great.
Great.
Best shows. We already know. It's fine. Yep.
Dom's coming to Halloween. Matt, we're trying to convince, but
I know. I'll literally have been at grad school for like 3 weeks, maybe at that point.
Oh my God.
Someone's gonna hold down the fort on TikTok. Someone's gonna hold down the fort on Twitter. It can be you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Now I'm worried, darling. Listen,
worried, darling?
Amazon has my number. Send us to the My Policeman premiere, besties. Like, we got you. We will be showing up ready to go.
Oh yeah, if there's a screening that I can try to put my name in the lottery for tickets, I'm going.
Absolutely
going on. I will cancel my schedule. I will make room.
What schedule?
Yeah.
What schedule? doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I'm a vessel for my policeman to be channeled through, truly.
Well, okay, my question, and this is more like, I mean, it ties to the movie, but also kind of their personal PR images.
Mm-hmm.
How I thought that, I mean, before all this happened this week, Harry Styles and Olivia Wilde would have more interactions. I don't know if they would have done like, if they would have gone, been on the red carpet together or just the two of them, but it would have been something, you know, that people would want to know more. But to do well for his own film career and to let the movie do well, does he continue to tie his personal image to her? Or do you think there's distance? Because the cast is distancing themselves from her.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do you think that plays a role? Do you think he's going to keep himself separate? Because as I mentioned before, like his entire brand is treating other people well and treat people with kindness, and not to compare to Ellen, but Ellen, I just keep thinking about this. Ellen DeGeneres' entire brand was be kind to one another. Now, granted, she had a toxic work environment and that kind of unraveled, and it's kind of started because, once again, Dakota Johnson. That interview that spiraled everything. It undid whatever they were trying to keep hidden. So what I wonder is, does his like PR team be like, okay, we need to, you know, you're going to go on tour, you're going to look happy, you're going to interact with everyone, you're going to be lovable, you're going to help people, you know, support them, help people come out, like you're going to keep doing what you're doing and stay as far away from her as possible? Or do they just let things roll out the way they are?
That is such an you've just laid out such an interesting line of thought for me to go think about for the next like 5 business days.
What did Dakota Johnson do? Oh, so if anyone hadn't seen the interview, basically, I think was it 2019 that Ellen DeGeneres interviewed Dakota Johnson and brought up her celebrity-filled birthday party that had made social media and said, well, why wasn't I invited? And it was incredibly uncomfortable. And Dakota Johnson was like, you were invited, you didn't come. And then it went viral, and all of a sudden everyone felt it was kind of like this weird feeling where you didn't know how to receive it. And I swear it was like after that, then there were more and more articles like, oh, well, what's happening? And people started exposing what was happening in the work environment. And then it was just one after the other, and her brand was tarnished.
Yeah, it was over.
Yeah.
It's not the truth, Ellen.
Right, you were invited. Like, iconic. Changed the world, actually.
Something shifted.
Really? Yeah.
Now I need, if you don't know, on Mac's other account, Mac's done this like thing where you find the explain what I'm talking about, because now I want you to do that with Dakota Johnson, but I don't know how to explain.
Oh, the like series I did a few weeks ago.
You take different like things from films and you switch them.
Basically, I discovered that that Chris Evans' Knives Out monologue is the exact same structure as Amy March's economic proposition monologue.
Yes.
Oh down to the which I have versus which I don't. It's like yin and yang. And so I was like, what if I switched the like? What if I just like put the monologue in the other inflection, and it just like created like this beautiful like brainchild.
But now I need you to do that with Dakota Johnson.
Yeah.
The voice so well, so like please.
Oh my god, that's not the truth, Ellen.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But what you were saying, Claire, I don't think they're gonna do anything, because I always want them to do something and say something, and they never do. I feel like they're just gonna be like, he's touring right now. He's busy. Nothing. I don't feel like much was gonna change, unfortunately. I wish, but like I wish Harry would dip his toes into some tea a little bit. Like you know, like maybe like a little offhand comment somewhere. But you know what? Never happens, unfortunately.
Well, sorry, go Claire.
Oh no, what did you say?
Well, I was gonna bring up the video I sent y'all. I'm charging my phone. I was bringing up the video I sent y'all in the group chat, where this person basically brought up that like his team has not really had to consider people widely disliking him, and you're starting to see that a lot. And I've seen some other TikToks addressing like he might be experiencing overexposure, and now like general audiences are starting to grow bothered by that. So yeah, like his PR team is basically faced with a very unprecedented times of Harry like actually maybe not being perfect.
One thing that like the new rise of celebrity has in its favor is like everyone goes into this now knowing that there's going to be a point where like they're canceled or they're disliked or they're too much, like the internet turns against them. But I truly feel like Harry is one of the last celebrities that does not have a team around him that's prepared for that, because everyone that's new, like Amy's going through it right now. Like you can even say Zendaya and Tom and like anyone that's kind of in that demographic, even Timothy Chalamet, I think, is like prepared to deal with internet backlash. Harry's team and Harry himself have never set him up in a way where like he's prepared to take on criticism.
Like the only time I've my bad. The only time I've ever seen him really like clap back at somebody was Bring Back Manly Men. That's like the only time. Can you imagine he does a post with Florence Pugh and says, "Me and Miss Flo"? Oh my God. Like
that was the most negativity that has been has surrounded his image probably in his entire career.
Yes.
And then you had so many people defending him, and what he said was subtle but very powerful. And I think that was him. But what are they prepared to deal with? I mean, toxic feminism, people, it doesn't do well. It doesn't hold up well. It even now more than ever, because we're very much like social change is in the forefront of social media, and it's in movies and television and news networks that pointing out issues, and it's not going to hold up well. So if she continues to hold this image that she's a toxic performative feminist, or that she treats female actors wrong or actresses wrong, it's hard to connect that image to, because then they're gonna like, why are you with her when she's tearing down your co-stars?
Right.
Yeah.
Because
I think it's hard for him to like his entire brand of like how he's someone that acts, like he goes to protests, he brings gun violence into his tours, like he's someone that like walks the walk.
Yeah.
Like, okay. We're waiting.
Wow.
Yeah.
God, I want this movie to come out. I just like, but also I don't. You know, like part of me's like maybe pull it back, girl. Like
put her back in the ball.
I'm ready for it to be out, and I'm ready to have peace. Like,
because I'm not ready for a world post Don't Worry, Darling.
I hope that the world post Don't Worry, Darling, we know what it's going to do. We know we're going to get the fan edits. We know we're going to get the Harry Styles commentary. We know people are going to continue to talk about the drama. Like those are all facts that we have to live with. But I hope that we also can remember to uplift the voices of critics of color, of women critics around this film, of people that don't see themselves reflected in this casting, that don't see themselves reflected in this storytelling, and uplift their narratives of how this take on feminism is approached. Because we're gonna like I think one of the worst things that this film can do is just give white women and white women commentators a platform to sound off on without being inclusive or taking any intersectional approach to their commentary. And like that door, like, or not that door, but like that platform to me is like so shakily becoming more solid. And I'm like, oh, this, like as a community, we need to remember like who are we centering when the film comes out and when we're analyzing its messages and themes, and like that's one of my biggest worries about all of this.
Darling, worry, darling.
Get Larisha on the press.
Yes.
If you're not
Yes.
following
take over
Simone, like those are people that are doing incredible commentary around this.
Wow.
Yeah. So perhaps we'll leave it there because we've been on live for like a very long time. But
Yes.
It's gonna take 10 years for this to download and get uploaded to Instagram. So I'll work on that and get it up and tag all 4 of us in it. So maybe we'll post here on our TikTok stories when it's available. So if you missed any of it, go and rewatch. And I'll tag everyone on Instagram too, so you can find it on any of our accounts. Make sure you're following all 4 of us. We're all continuing to do commentary on this mess as it unfolds. And maybe we'll go live again once the next wave of this unfolds for us.
Yeah, someone in the comments wanted to see our reactions after the movie, like to do a live and talk about it. So I think that's a good option for us.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm down. Let's do it, darling.
Yeah, super down for this. Great meeting you, Claire and Mac. Like, obviously, I've talked to Liz.
Yeah.
Nice to see you again, Liz. But oh my gosh, y'all are so smart, and I hope we get to do this again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope that if I could just show one more thing into the void about all of this, it's there's so much we can talk about that does not fit in a TikTok video. So for everybody watching, if there are pieces of this that you want to hear more about, sometimes the reason why it doesn't show up on the feed is because it's hard to have a conversation like this and the way that TikTok allows us to talk about things. So I'm cool that we got a chance to actually discuss and explore and hear each other out. And yeah, this was great.
For sure.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right. Love all of you. I'm gonna eat lunch. I'm hungry. Panda Express or something.
Eat some lunch. Treat people with kindness.
Yes. Okay. Yes. All right. Adios, y'all. Till the next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.